Well, good evening, race fans, and a very warm welcome back to the PSGL GT Top Tier Season 2. And this is round 3 in the Dragon Tail Gardens track in Croatia. My name is Webbo. I'm here to take you through tonight's race as ever, and we're almost underway for our qualifying session. Just getting the lobby re-sorted for everybody, all the cars selected, and we'll be underway for 8 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 33 lap race around this fantastic, tight and twisty little circuit. Welcome to Johnny and to David and to Time Killer. David asks, why is this not F1? Well, we are branching out. This is our second season in GT racing on the Gr.4 7 game, and hopefully we can convert you to being interested in a different form of racing here tonight. We are waiting to get the go. We've had the go from HRG, so let's join the drivers on track. What I can tell you is that we do have a bit of a specialist in this Croatian circuit tonight, Kai Racer, albeit on the other circuit, the other configuration, but I believe Kai Racer has a world top 5 time currently, or at least that's the best information I have at the moment. Now, whether that translates to the Dragon Tail circuit here, time will tell, of course. But as I say, qualifying underway now. So 8 minutes from the start of the session. So it could be when we hit about 9 minutes on the game clock on the bottom left of your screen that we will have the cutoff for this qualifying session. So we have a wet full evening of racing for you. This is it's going to be wet the whole way through, so there is far less by way of issues with tyre strategy. There's no minimum tyre usage. The only requirement is that you start the race on the tyre you set your fastest qualifying time in, or suffer the consequences of transgressing that one. Kai Racer is just about finishing up his preparation outlap, and we are going to be underway for, as I say, 8 minutes of qualifying around this fiendishly difficult little circuit here. We're about to finish it off with a double left-hander around the turns 14 and 15. They look identical, but they're not exactly simple. Very easy to run wide, very easy on a number of the corners on this circuit to put the power down too early and have to bail out of the throttle as you pick up the nose of the car back into the correct racing line. Well, we head down the start-finish line now, building the speed, of course, in these Group 4 cars. Kai Racer racing the Audi, and then getting the car stopped down into 4th gear, trying to ride the apex, suffering with a huge amount of understeer as a result of the track conditions, before heading into turn 2, 3 and 4. Very similar right angle corners, although turn 3 and 4 have those nasty sausage curbs on the inside apex. Now, if you straddle them just right, you can avoid being launched into the air, but the safest route is to keep the sausage curb to the inside edge of the car and not overstep. I apologize if you're busy giving comments here. I'm lacking my comments on my live stream. I'll be with you shortly. Down into the hairpin then we go of turn 6. And powering back out again. That was the biggest stop on the track. We're hoping to see some overtaking through there. This one should be flat out. He has just feathered the throttle slightly. It's flat out in the dry, and a massive wiggle on the way in to the second part, then turn 8. Now turn 9 as the speed starts to come off, and we progress through the S section, and now there is a quadruple apex right hand corner, usually taken in 3rd gear. I think he's going to hold 3rd gear, and as long as you get the penultimate apex, the one before that one, just right, you can get the power down very early. Now with a short straight, again leading uphill towards the braking zone of turn 14 and 15, which you would ideally take as a continuous radius corner, but the second one does get a little bit tighter at the apex. Now you want the earliest throttle application possible, of course, staying to the inside of the track limits with at least 2 of your wheels before heading then down towards the start finish line, registering the fastest time so far, of course, a 46.041 for Kai Racer. Afa goes second on just a 0.3 of a second slower time. Then comes Callum Aura and Prez have beaten Kai Race's first time. We did see a big, nasty sideways slip from Kai in that first lap. Let's see what Antonio, our session host for the night and one of our 4 drivers currently racing the Pokemon livery. Well, Antonio picks up a 3/4 of a second to the good advantage here and manages to go up into the pole position potential time of 44.302 at the back of the grid. Just coming through the final 2 corners will be Mew Mew and HRG. So we will hopefully get hold of them shortly. Hi to Brownfinger, hi to Clinic, and Clinic is cheering on Sammy. I want to know who you're all here for. Who are you watching for specifically? HRG manages a 13th fastest. Hasnain is still in the pits, waiting for everybody to get there, get the dry line to form on the circuit, but clearly spending some of the time he's got available. He may just be looking for one major run. So it's Moreno from Antonio, from Aura, from Prez, Jamie, Hasnain, Kai and Afa, your top 8 so far. We've got oh, hello to Combustion Corner. He's watching Aura's stream, so let me know Combustion Corner what info you can give me from his stream as well, what you're seeing. I'd love to get that little engineer's insight as well. Moreno is currently on his next lap here. The drivers, of course, there's no real advantage to putting new set of tyres on all the time. They can run one set of tyres through this one and try and hope that they're on the best tyres at any given moment. Not getting a huge amount of spray off the circuit, of course, with the lead car here. You can just see some spray developing on the rear of the car in front. I think that's Prez. So Afa goes fastest now from Aura and Prez, and now Moreno coming into the final 2 corners. So we will be on our way full throttle to the line then. What has Moreno got here? Just to let you know, I don't have full bank of updated standings for you, but suffice to say, well, Moreno fastest by a 1/4 of a second there, straight up into the top on a 43.236. I'm very keen to see what Kai is going to do. Let's ride with him in car, shall we, as he's into the 3rd sector, almost into the 3rd sector of the racetrack. This one looks a little bit smoother through the S's. I can tell you that currently the championship is headed by Antonio with a win and a 2nd place so far in the first 2 races. He pushed other drivers very, very close. He got the win on the fastest on the final lap in the 1st race, and he took it right to the very dying embers to finish 2nd behind Mehdi in the 2nd race in Watkins Glen last week. This is round 3, of course, of 11 rounds. There will not be a race next week. It is a break week for everybody at PSGL GT as Kai Racer goes towards the line from P6 currently, a 2nd off the fastest time. Let's see where this one gets him. He stays in 6th place, bizarrely enough. I'm very surprised to see that. There's only about a minute of footage of qualifying left to run. Aura goes fastest from MK1, Prez and Moreno, and that is where we see ourselves at the moment. It's Aura, MK1, Prez, Moreno, Afa, Mehdi, Jamie and Antonio. Right at the back, we've got Kai demoted to 14th at the moment because he's he's pressed pause or he's gone into the pits. Newcomer to the league, Lexus Enjoyer, I believe appropriately enough, driving a Lexus. He is just coming through. That was a nice line through the final corner. Hi to Mill as well, who is here to enjoy the racing with us. Do let us know who you're here to support. Lexus Enjoy goes up to P9. P9 for him, for the Italian driver. And HRG at the tail of the field at the moment. Cars stopping right now, so that means Moreno, Antonio are your front row. Unfortunately, the glitch here with the camera, please bear with me. We have to usually have to join a car from the front in order to satisfy the current glitch. But the lights are on. Here we go. The lights are on. It's time to drop the clutch and go, go, go. And a nice little bite down initially from the second place Antonio, who draws alongside Moreno and in fact edges him just into the lead at the first corner. That we're on board MK1 as Aura's challenging for the lead, and a little bit of an understeer going wide through the next corner, and up the inside comes Aura as well in the Viper. Sneaking out around the outside in the Mercedes AMG was Prez, and it's all going a little bit crazy as the cars get very squirrely. This is going to be a compromised line for MK1, who's just barely hanging on to the third place, and it's wow, the leading driver slipping back all the way down the field at the moment, having picked up a nasty run on the inside curb. We see the Dodge Viper at the front of the field of Aura going wide as well through the hairpin. It is a voyage into the unknown, trying to break into the hairpin for the first time. Hazards on the car of Mew Mew and Lexus Enjoyer, in fact, sorry, who's racing the distinct livery of Mew Mew. And away we go then to tackle the final sector of the lap. I'm going to have to exit the game and come back in order to get the proper trackside cameras. Here we go then. There is Aura. Again, massive understeer wide with the BMW of MK1 getting sideways as well. It's getting very dicey out there. So it's Aura from MK1 from Moreno, two Germans at the front of the field, as there looks to be a sniff of the inside coming of Perez trying down the inside. The Lebanese driver currently just edging Afa and managing to hang on despite the fact that Afa is busy rubbing bodywork against the Mercedes driver Perez. But it's Aura in the lead of this race. We've got Moreno down in 5th currently as they brake lightly and under as much control as possible into turn 1. It's a very, very tricky corner, especially in the wet, to get just perfect. How about Jamie, though, in the Aperture Laboratories car, moving into 6th place with Kai into 7th. You've got Callum down in 8th at the moment. Then comes Hasnain, Mew Mew, Lexus Enjoyer, HRG, Mehdi and Antonio, our pole sitter, down in 14th position, some 9 seconds off the lead of this race. Remember, they will only be fuel limited here. They don't have to stop for a different compound of tyre. They only have to run to the end of the race given the rain conditions, so they can opt to change tyres if they wish to. I think everybody though is on intermediate tyres which run and run and run, so they could potentially decide not to change tyre at all and just run the same set of intermediates all the way to the end. But there's not a huge penalty compared to fitting new to refueling. Moreno goes for a move down into the triple right-hander corner of turn 10, 11 and 12. Make that quadruple right-hander because turn 13 is also a continuous radius. There goes Moreno up into 4th place, starting to move forward now and get a little bit of confidence under the McLaren as the drivers looking to head through the double left at the end of the racetrack. There is Kai Racer trying to use the inside line on Jamie's TT Cup car, but in the orange and blue Aperture Laboratories livery. It's no secret, it's my favourite livery on the league. No look to the inside. Will there be a look to the inside from Kai? There will, but he got a little bit out of shape. Didn't quite know what the driver in front was going to do there and didn't quite make it work. Clinic is cheering on Moreno and is happy that he's moving forwards. Very different prospect to the racing, and there you see the 2nd and 5th car across the sausage curb. Just got it perfectly. If you can go wheels on either side of that sausage curb just perfectly in line, you can get the best launch possible without being sprung up into the air as the drivers head down into the hairpin. Here comes a look, then another look from Kai down the inside, and Jamie left him room on that inside line. Didn't necessarily have to leave quite as much room as he did because Kai was almost kind of backing out of the move. They go side by side into the first of the S's, and who will emerge safely out? It's Kai Racer, who's moved up to 6th place, and his eyes will be firmly locked on the rear clear of the McLaren now. He won't be worrying too much. And there's another problem. Who was that moving down the order? Was that Perez? It was Perez in the Mercedes. So both Mercedes having major moments in the early laps of this race. 3 laps deep, and both Mercedes are spinning round and round. Let me see. We've got Antonio through, and it's not Hasnain. Who have we got down at the bottom? It is Mew Mew. It's Mew Mew doing donuts. Can't get those tyres to cool down for him, and he is stuck at the rear of the field. He's going to be very careful not to beach himself or get a curb glitch on the car. Mew Mew down to 14th position, MK1 now in the lead of this race in the M4 from the Dodge Viper of Aura. Then comes Afa and Kai Racer in 4th, Jamie in 5th. Really good showing for Jamie so far. No sign of a major comeback from Antonio here. Someone is sitting in the pit lane. However, let's have a quick look. Who is that just exiting the pits? Look to be it's Moreno early doors, who's put the medium tyres on. So he is going for a very different strategy here. I'm not sure the mediums will last him to the end of the race. You can see the bodywork has had its problems here. It's certainly been in the wars on the left-hand side of the vehicle. He's apparently put medium tyres on the car. He's quite happy with the state of play here. 17.5 seconds off the lead with medium tyres on the car. Very interesting manoeuvre there. Mew Mew has followed suit, and he prefers those. Maybe feeling like the intermediates have overheated, and you can see a little bit of tyre wear already on board the race leading MK1 on his M4. He's got a healthy 0.8 of a second lead at the moment as they head towards the end of this 4th lap underneath the bridge. And let's see if anybody else decides to make a move into the pit lane. You need a very, very narrow and tight final corner if you're going to make it into the pit lane safely. It would be polite to put the blinkers on for the perspective of your following cars as everybody follows suit. It looks like an inspired decision then to go onto the medium tyres early doors. Who else have we got? HRG coming in, Mehdi, Prez. Everybody fancies a run into the pit lane at this point. So Moreno, first of the drivers to put the medium tyres on, will pass, I think, all of them in the pits. Will they? Moreno down the outside has done an undercut on everybody and takes the lead of the race at the start of lap 5. Tremendous work from Moreno. Braved it out to be the first guy on the medium tyres and manages to get himself into the lead of the race, and that is perfectly worked for Moreno in the McLaren. He's now first as MK1 is struggling on these dry tyres, getting all kinds of sideways. He's held it very nicely, but that will have affected his momentum all the way down towards the hairpin. Now, what does Aura feel like doing? A very brave move on the brakes, or just trust that the guy in front will understeer or outbrake himself? Neither turned out to be true. Little wiggle coming out of the corner from the 3rd place Aura in the Dodge Viper. So we have McLaren from BMW M4, from Viper, from M4 in a different livery here on Afa's car, the split red and black and white and grey livery, which is a very smart one indeed. Then comes Kai in the first of the Audis. Oh, the Viper of Aura has spun on these new medium tyres. You can see he's struggling with massively overheated fronts. The front axle is flashing red for him as HRG comes on the scene and could do with getting past him here. Otherwise he's going to end up with a big problem. HRD fitted hard tyres on the Audi TT Cup car, and that might well mean he can get to the end of the race depending on the fuel consumption. He's going to go for a move down the inside on the way into turn 14, is he? Not quite. Couldn't quite make it work. MK1 leaving messages that we could do without on stream. My apologies for that one. Mehdi in 9th. We've got Prez in 10th. Then comes Antonio on the fight back. Now 14 seconds off the lead. Oh, remember, he was 17 after the first Spinella on the early laps. He'll be hoping his teammate plays the correct game here and gets out of his way. Lexus Enjoyer in 12th place, but up in the front, and now by a stretching 4-second gap. That is Moreno, first driver to put dry tyres on from Afa, just outside of 4 seconds. Afa's now picked up a 3.5 second gap himself to Jamie in third, and Jamie is Afa, remember, put the hard tyres on, so they will be slower and harder to heat up at the moment. But here is the battle for third place. Jamie, Kai Racer, Callum and Hasnain as they head through the S's. Clinic says, and there's no way the Audi will do 28 laps on the hard tyres with a 3/4 tank of fuel. Yeah, that's a big ask for sure. So he's clearly struggling for traction, taking wide lines into corners, and unfortunately did leave a little bit of a gap, but it wasn't, he didn't deserve to be nerfed off by Kai at that point. I don't know if Kai is going to let him back past, because there we go, very, very sporting behaviour from Kai. He wasn't given a penalty, but he has allowed at least the Audi to come back in front of him. Unfortunately, that means both of them lost multiple places. Jamie down to 6th, Kai down to 7th, and HRG in 8th place. That promoted Callum and Aura, with Hasnain in 3rd. Hasnain defending now from Callum. Callum in the Lexus RC, in the rainbow winged Lexus RC, and that is the Hasnain, remember, your season 1, the very first PSGL GT top tier champion. Starting to get back to grips with the Group 4 car rather than the Group 3s we were using last season, and is now in his highest position he's been this season, I believe, on merit at least, in this Asahi Kessie liveried Porsche Cayman, the only Porsche we have in the field. A half-second penalty on the Lexus. That will be a while before he has to pay that. That is the stretch between turns 13 and turn 14. That medium straight there, after the quadruple right-hander. Moreno leads by now 5 seconds from Afa, who is in front of Hasnain by 4. But this is the key battle on the grid for the last of the podium positions. It's soon to be, well, that is very, very messy, almost beaching the car across the mud there, from both drivers, from both Hasnain and Callum, and Aura on the fight back after his spin should be able to overtake the Lexus very easy. The Lexus will pull along to one side, hopefully. There we have the blinkers on, ready to suffer his half second with no throttle. Need to change down a gear or two, but the Dodge Viper, of course, getting past very, very comfortably. Aura into 4th place once again, but now 10.5 seconds off the lead, and he was battling for that lead. So we have a medium tyre shod Viper trying to take on the medium tyre shod Hasnain, and the Hasnain Cayman has been chewing through those tyres very quickly. Clinique wanting to send the love out. Well, that's very, very kind of you. I know it's a league that takes a lot of hard work, and I'm sure that the admins and everybody involved in the league very much appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much for that. Do make sure that you have followed us on socials at PremierSimGL. You've subscribed to the channel here, and you're ready to tune in to more GT racing in 2 weeks' time, of course. And myself, if you wish to follow my commentary, I'm on most socials at WebORed5, one word. But let's get back to the action as Hasnain continues to gamely hang on to this 3rd place, and he's in fact not giving up a great deal of speed to the leader, who may well be taking it slightly easy at this stage now. So Hasnain in 3rd place, just hanging on. He is running very wide coming through the end of the S's there. It is a very tricky section of the track. You're tempted to take too much speed at the apex, and he runs wide again, really struggling on these medium tyres. It's the right-hand side of the car that seems to be more limited on tyre wear, but he hung on just about. Will there be a move from the Viper? I think there will. The Viper draws alongside, tries to hold the inside line, and successfully gets through. Will his line be so compromised that he is vulnerable himself into turn 1? Looks pretty good. So a take for position there. That was Aura on the medium tyres, just like Hasnain, but perhaps being a little bit kinder to the right rear, which should be the most crucial one for getting the power down on these Group 4 cars. So especially around a clockwise circuit, of course. So Aura in 3rd place, 0.4 of a second ahead of Hasnain, who will hope to get him back quickly. There's that terrible, terrible turn of turn 4, You get it wrong and you are two wheels for far too long, which of course limits the amount of power you can put down. Hasnain not letting this one go though. Even on those worn mediums, he puts in a PB first sector. Let's have a look up at the front, just check on Moreno. He's still in the lead by nearly 5 seconds from Afa, who himself has 5 seconds in front of third place Aura, and the gap is opening. It looks like Aura has got a slight advantage here on the speed and the tyre wear over the Porsche Cayman. Further down in the grid then, P5, you see Callum 12 seconds off the lead, but 1.2 seconds off Hasnain. Then we have Kai, who I was expecting to have a good night racing here. He's a bit of a Croatia specialist, is Kai Racer. He's in P6 at the moment, 13 seconds off the lead, but only 0.8 of a second away from 5th. Then comes Jamie, leading a trio of cars, or, well no, leading a pair of cars I suppose. Down the inside tries Mehdi in the Mercedes, and his Mercedes teammate looking to follow him through. He's been mugged. Call the cops, because Jamie's just been mugged again by well, certainly a BMW of Antonio, who moves up. Then comes, Mehdi goes up. Antonio and Prez both follow him through. They've both got the inside line. This is fantastic tin top GT racing action. You go offline and suddenly the drivers, it's really hard to pick up that momentum once again. So we've got a trio of Pokemon liveries, 7th, 8th and 9th, and that is currently Mehdi, Antonio and Prez, although two different manufacturers. Mehdi driving the BMW. We've got the Mercedes SLS AMGs in 8th and 9th there. Antonio, the erstwhile pole sitter and leader of the first lap, but drama befalling him. Lexus and Joyce showing well there in P11 on his first race with us here in PSGL GT Top Tier. HRG bring up the rear at the moment, but on the hard tyres. Look how much he's used those fronts on the hard tyres. That's some pain on the front axle. We need to be winding that brake balance back a little bit. Try and use up those rear tyres. Over the difficult exit of the S's goes HRG. He won't thank me for showing that one on stream, unfortunately. K1 Racing also has some kind words, so thank you so much. We really appreciate them. MK1 just apologising. He had to leave us, unfortunately. Well, get well soon, MK1. It was nice while it lasted, and I'm sorry that you had to leave us. So lap 11 of 33. We are 1/3 distance. Even I can manage that one with my limited math skills. It's P3. It's Moreno, Afa and Aura, your current potential podium. We've got Hasnain trying to keep those mediums alive and get to a point where he can brim the tank and get himself to the end of the race. I think in an ideal world he'd get rid of these tyres right now. But he does need to be able to get enough fuel in the car for one more stop. We've got Callum in 5th, Kai Racer in 6th, Mehdi and Antonio in 7th and 8th places respectively. I'm waiting for Kai Racer to launch one here. Callum on the mediums, Kai also on the mediums. Look at that front right tyre wear. That is crazy from Kai. Still doing a 39.5 on the previous lap though, which is only 0.6 off the very fastest lap, currently set by Aura. There is a point for fastest lap, as you would expect. Tricky stop into the first part of this quadruple right-hander. So get that penultimate apex right and you are away up the hill very, very nicely. Let's check out the Pokemon squad, shall we? Still led by Mehdi in the M4, and then next comes Antonio and Prez. Antonio trying to find inroads into Kai Racer's pace as Aura pits off the mediums. Now that will be interesting, I imagine. So does Hasnain finally, and I think a 22 lap run here on a full tank of fuel should be achievable. We're getting all manner of health updates here. get well soon anyone who's not feeling well in the live chat, but don't divulge too much by way of personal medical information, will you? This is a public stream after all. Moreno leads Alpha from Callum, Mehdi and Antonio, as you can see right now, because of the pit stops that have just happened. Some of the drivers who fitted hard tyres will be smiling to themselves. Look at the glowing front axle brakes on the Mercedes. Beautiful stuff here from Gr.4 7. They do make a very pretty game. There's some great environmental effects here. Well, we're certainly hoping that the Tuesday night streams become a definite moment in the highlight of the week for you all, and you continue to join us. We do hope that this little experiment in the world of GT racing on the PlayStation is well received, and you enjoy what we have. We do have some world-leading and top tier in the world GT7 drivers here, some competitive esports drivers in our League One, our top tier, as we've got more pit stops. Moreno now and Callum into the pits. That means Afa, Mehdi, Antonio, who are all on the hard tyres, are sailing on by. Antonio looking very likely he's going to have a go here. So I would imagine with Moreno in the pits now, that will be a proper refuel job. And back up into probably onto a set of hard tyres to the end. So it will favour the drivers who've been able to use the hard tyres in this middle stint. Of course, the weather could get worse again. We don't know. But assuming that conditions continue as they do now, the drivers will be... oh, nice move coming up here from Lexus Enjoyer, but he outbrakes himself. And very patiently driven by Prez, expertly got himself out of the way as the blinkers come on the Lexus Enjoyer car. He's really struggling around now. Medium tyres once again. I think maybe it was almost a move because of a late braking moment there as they crest over the left-hander coming out of the S's. Great stuff. You can see the marble pickup on the outside of the circuit there, close up. I wonder now, surely the Sylvia Speckart of Lexus Enjoy will be heading into the pits shortly, because those medium tyres are very much the worse for wear. You can brake very late going into turn 14 because you're going uphill pretty steeply. Will we be heading into the pits then from Lexus Enjoy? No, he stays out. He will have some of the best fuel economy on the grid. That will work for him. Again, the hard tyre runners staying out. I know that Jamie, he was on hards, but frankly, he's worn them like a set of mediums on the front axle. Moreno has rejoined, and he's got just over half a tank of fuel left, and he's put medium tyres on. So expecting to stop again, I think Moreno perhaps didn't fancy his chances of getting to the end of the race on a full tank of fuel or on hard tyres at all. Aura has not stopped a second time yet, but presumably trying to get this car down to the fumes. Down the inside then tries Moreno and seems to complete the move on Jamie. A second move coming from Aura then in the Viper. Jamie again leaving the door open. Can't close it after it's open to that degree, and Aura following Moreno through just a couple of corners later and up into 7th place for Aura in the Viper. Hasnain has tumbled down the order down into P9, but on new mediums this time again, probably looking to stop again. I know HRG was on hard tyres, but again, very much the worse for the wear, and I think some setup changes very much needed for HRG. Unfortunately, stalwart of the league, major admin, always hope he goes well, but it's not been working out. Here we have perhaps the only driver so far who is pitted to the end of the race. That is Kai Racer on a full tank of fuel and on hard tyres. So Kai with 46 seconds away from the lead of the race. However, he has done what is required. I think he can get this car to the end of the race. Mehdi pits, as does Jamie, off the hard tyres with about a third of a tank of fuel left each. But Afa continues to lead this race then in the M4 with a healthy 12.2 second lead from Antonio. Both drivers on the hard tyres, both of them presumably wanting to get rid of those hards fairly shortly. But they are getting very, very warm. They're going to have to be super gentle on the acceleration out of corners. Prez has been a little bit kinder to his tyres than his teammate in third place. That won't do him any favours if that wasn't lag. We just saw that for a moment. So with good gaps at the podium, we've currently got Moreno 18.5 seconds off the lead of the race on the medium tyres, looking to do a nice aggressive strategy here with at least 2 sets of mediums. And he's got all right behind him. Pit stop then for Affa. Pit stop from Affa at the front of the field off those very worn hard tyres. And I wonder, does that mean that Antonio is due in as well? No, he's going to stay out. Antonio stays out of the pits and picks up the lead of the race with his teammate Prez. How is Kai doing? He's now 37 seconds off the lead, so has caught the leader significantly. Of course, the pit stop happening right now with the erstwhile leader Affa. Affa down in 5th. I think he's out of the pits. Yes, indeed. So Affa, has he put the hard tyres on? No, he's gone for a half-tank medium tyre strategy as well. So may well have to stop again. I don't think half a tank is going to get him to the end. So cracking race we've had so far. It is on a bit of a moment now where the drivers need to consolidate their strategy and really make the best of it. I'm really interested to see what happens with our specialist here in Croatia, Kai 37 seconds off the lead. He's got, well, he's chewing through those hards on the front axle. Might need to make an adjustment on the steering wheel to reduce that front tyre wear to get those hards to the end. It's going to be very tricky. The track not offering up a lot of turn-in grip for the drivers. Leaning on that outside front really aggressively. He's really sprinting, he's really pushing. You can see the body language of the car, but unfortunately that's only going to use those front tyres more and more. So pit stop at the front of the field. That is Prez coming in from second. So Moreno gets his second place back now after the pit stop. And Antonio continues on the hard tyres to run those down. Remember, he used the intermediates and went onto the hard tyres. So he will be hoping to get a medium tyre run with a half tank of fuel at the end of this race. But his lead is being reduced currently by Moreno on the chase. Although I think both drivers with another pit stop to make before the end of today's race. Lap 17 of 33 sees Antonio lead Moreno from Aura and Affa. Antonio currently leading our championship with a win and a second place. His race management has been faultless so far. He's not made a great deal of mistakes and has managed to put all the practice in to know exactly what his car and his combination, his package is capable of delivering over a race distance. He's yeah, clearly doing his homework. Moreno is pushing very hard indeed. The gap down now to 3.5 seconds, so about half a second lost from Antonio in the previous half lap. We've got Aura in third place, Affa in fourth, trying to get tucked up behind him and get a slipstream down these big straights. P3, Aura pits in the Viper. He's on the medium tyres, fuel light flashing, so this will be a fuel to the finish and tyres to the finish kind of a pit stop scenario now. Aura down into 5th, 6th. Let's see where it leaves him. 7th now. is Aura, I imagine, soon to be 8th as Lexus Enjoyer goes through. Strangely in a Nissan instead. Jamie and Prez pass Aura. Crucially, will Kai pass Aura? I think Aura is out of the pits in 9th place, so Kai will still be some 6.6 seconds away from Aura in his overall bid here to get to the end of the race and get onto the podium. Doesn't quite look at the moment like a podium is possible for our Croatian specialist Kai here in the Audi TT. That's the R8G livery, official livery he's rocking today. So we've got a good tight battle going on for P2 at the moment. This is Moreno being passed, or at least having to defend against the BMW M4 of Afa, who sneaks up the inside, an outside-inside move through the double left-hander. But now Moreno has got the inside line as Antonio pits from the lead of the race. They'll go side by side down the start-finish straight, and this must now favour the McLaren as the squeeze goes on down into the left-hander. BMW looking a lot more balanced into turn-in, and he gets the inside line again. The next one is a left-hander, and if the McLaren can hang on around the outside, no, he can't. It's follow my leader through this section, but the BMW M4 still very much offline here, and so will be vulnerable down towards the hairpin. He's holding the left-hand side of the track. He doesn't want to give up the inside in the braking zone for the hairpin, but the McLaren isn't going to leave him much in the way of choice. Down the inside tries Moreno, late on the brakes, trying to hold the apex, and the M4 goes the long way round. I don't think that's enough. Yes, it is. Wow, brilliant grip on the outside exit as he heads towards the S's and stays ahead. Great sequence of corners there from the lead pairing of Afa and Moreno. Let's check in on where everybody has ended up. I would imagine that Antonio is still in the net lead of this one. Remember, these two guys are going to have to stop again for tyres, if not fuel. Almost certainly fuel, but a splash and dash at the end. Hasnain should be on his way in shortly, fuel light flashing, and Antonio's dropped down to 6th place, but is ahead of the other drivers who have pitted to the end of the race. Well, yes, definitely, because Callum won't get that fuel to the end either. Antonio, the net leader, with Aura in 9th, close behind him. Close behind Jamie in 8th at the moment. Jamie keeps playing this spoiler almost tonight because he keeps ending up amongst the leaders, but on a slightly different strategy, certainly a different tyre strategy. So he's trying to hang on as much as possible as Aura tries around the outside, decides to get a better line coming out of the final corner, and it now looks like it's going to be Aura drawing alongside Jamie with a better exit, much better exit, and got his nose ahead before they head. Whoa, a bit of a chop block there on the outside as they're now going to come across the BMW, and it's going to be difficult through turn 1. A BMW of Mehdi there, just 0.08 of a second ahead of Aura, who is desperate to get past, doesn't want another car in his way. Yellow lights flashing, headlights flashing on the Viper, but he's stuck, absolutely stuck behind another driver. Then really bad luck from Aura. This is him trying to get himself back towards the podium contention with Antonio and possibly Kai as well. I'm sure Mehdi is going to try and hold on though to this place while he warms up the tyres. So medium tyres on Aura. Mehdi's gone for soft tyres with 13 laps to go. That is, yeah, well, that's certainly a gamble. Aura committing to another stop after this one. Remember, you fit your tyres and then you just sit still while the fuel is going in. Moreno pits then. Moreno pits from P2, as does Hasnain from P3. So these guys will presumably get Moreno and Hasnain. That should bring Antonio back towards the lead of this race. Callum currently is on the hard tyres and a little bit of a roadblock for our pole sitter and former leader of the race. Antonio gets the overlap, gets past. HRG's left the room, unfortunately. I hope that's just a disco and he can come back. But Antonio sneaking back ahead then of Callum, and he's only got Afa in front of him. Afa on the medium tyres with less than a quarter of a tank to go, with still 12 laps to go in the race. Almost certainly needing to pit again here. So Antonio deciding now is hammer time. He's got a personal best sector 1. And part of that, and now a personal best sector, yeah, it is personal best sector 1, sorry, it's a mini sector we were seeing the times for. Down into the hairpin we go. It does look like the AMG Mercedes is handling very nicely, looks very balanced. I think the M4 looks perhaps slightly more comfortable, maybe. I say in a very uneducated point of view. I've pretty much only been racing in a Toyota up until this point, and that doesn't feature in this race. But tremendous stuff from the guys so far. Afa from Antonio, from Callum, Lexus Enjoyer, Mehdi, Aura, Moreno, and Jamie. Moreno is now 32 seconds net behind Afa, but Afa will pit again, I believe. Kai Racer in 11th, now a minute and 1 second away from the lead of the race. So something there, he's had another stop. He's put the medium tyres on to the end of the race. Didn't like the hards, really didn't like the hards, and it's a surprise to me to see him pit again. But there we go. He's also got a 19.6 second gap to our Season 1 champion Hasnain, who has come out of the pits on hard tyres with enough fuel to finish the race. Does seem like very aggressive tyre wear is the order of the day. Very abrasive Dragon Tail Garden circuit here. Either that or we have altered the tyre wear rate. HRG is not having a good night of it. He said he was having a disaster race anyway, but his game just froze on him and it crashed, unfortunately. That's why we have lost HRG. I don't think he's in a mood to come back and do a further 11 laps. I think that might be his day done. So he will presumably stop by the live chat as well and vent if he's in the mood to. Afa leads this race on lap 22 by 20.1 seconds with a pit stop still to make. Probably 1, maximum 2 more laps of fuel left in that tank. And if he can get 2 laps out of that front right tyre, that'll be a very, very good job indeed. Medium tyres are the order of the day then for Antonio, and he is making a number of pit stops today. Again, not sure that he's got 11 laps of fuel in the car to finish this one out. Might be a quick soft tyre stint. Callum pits then off those terribly worn hard tyres with a flashing fuel light. And so he goes down the order. So it's Moreno in P6 now as he just passes Callum in the pits. Moreno 34 seconds off the lead, 3.9 off Aura. Aura himself a bit closer to Mehdi than he has Moreno behind him. Normally you'd expect the Viper to be quite oversteery, but that was a perfect line through turn 4 as well. Under Aura's guidance, this car does look very, very nice indeed on the circuit. Nice and balanced, nice wide and long wheelbase. Able to get a great deal of mid to high speed corner balance on the circuit. There we saw Moreno with then Prez in 7th and Jamie in 8th. Prez on the mediums, Jamie on the hard tyres, which again the front axle is going to struggle to make the end of this race. Did see HRG come back into the room at least, whether he's able to pick back up his car or not. Afa pits from the lead, Afa into the lead then on the end of lap 23. So decision time for him. How much fuel does he need to pit for, and which tyres does he go on for the remaining 10 laps of the race? Surely It will only be mediums for Afa. As past him goes Antonio, takes the lead of the race, and Lexus Enjoyer in P2 now. Still no sign of, there he is, Afa coming out of the pits. Afa on his way out now then. He has gone on to hard tyres to finish the race off. Wow. So really not liking the tyre wear rate here for the end of the race. And just hoping to hold on to his position ahead of Aura, who's got medium tyres that are well in the correct temperature range, but is not fueled to the end of the race. Half a tank should be just fine for Afa. Antonio leads now from Lexus and Mehdi. So, tyres on Antonio's car. Not looking great, but should get him to the end of his fuel stint, which is about 2 or 3 laps remaining in the car. Looks like Lexus Enjoy will be stopping at the end of this lap for fuel to the finish. We've got Mehdi on the soft stint here, who's kept up the pace and is very close to the back of Mehdi. Might get an extra lap out of the car in terms of fuel. Whether he feels like he is on a bit of a tightrope with the tyres on the next lap is another question, but we'll look to ideally do a different tactic to Lexus Enjoy here in terms of the pit lane. So he pits where, well, they do exactly the same thing, so just making a liar out of me. And that is Afa taking second place then, fuel to the finish. Antonio is not fueled to the finish, or does not have tyres to finish this race off. Moreno retakes third, should be fine to the end of the race. So it looks like the net positions is Afa, Moreno, and possibly Hasnain for the podium, although he is 26 seconds off Antonio's lead. So if that opens up by much more, Antonio will slot in between second and third Moreno and Hasnain as things currently stand. Down in the order, let's work through. We've got Mehdi and then Prez, Lexus Enjoyer in 7th, then comes Aura just ahead of Callum and Kai. Kai, I don't think will get those medium front tyres to the end of the race. Wants to maybe put hards on the front axle, mediums on the back. By the look of his wear rate, it is really aggressive out there. Jamie's pitted again. It's 50 seconds off the lead, 8 seconds off Kai Racer, but your leader is Antonio before his next pit stop, which I'm imagining will be very shortly with that fuel light flashing. And HRG can't even spectate, he says, to save the replay. It's that bad. Antonio can squeeze an extra lap out of the fuel tank and crosses the line just only 2/10 off his fastest time so far this race. So very consistent pace from Antonio. He's looking for a late race surge after his next pit stop. May risk some soft tyres. Mehdi made the softs work quite well. It seems anything's working tonight apart from the mediums, and occasionally anything on a front axle for some of the drivers. So Afa in the net lead of this race. Moreno 5.4 seconds away from him as he works his way through turn 2, 3, 4. Hops the car up. Is that a Barcelona helmet scheme I spy there on the Spanish drivers' racing gear? Check out the Pokemon squad once again. P5, Mehdi has put medium tyres on for the end of the race. We've got Prez just behind him. They've been doing battle throughout this race. Prez has gone for softs now. Should be very aggressive, should be very comfortable on the circuit at the moment with some good pace. Antonio pits finally, and off the medium tyres. I don't know if he'll be using an extra set of mediums here, but refueling as we speak. So Afa takes the lead. Watch for Moreno taking second. Well, the question for me is, does Hasnain get out of the pits in front of... does Hasnain stay in front of Antonio here? And the answer is no, not at all. It was a very quick splash and dash for Hasnain, for Antonio, sorry, and he stays by 4 seconds in front. So he's still on for a podium here. Soft tyres on the car, and I'm expecting some fireworks from our championship leader Antonio at the end of this one. So his target is 12 seconds in 6 laps. But first of all, it's about 7 seconds to second place. Can he make it 3 podiums out of 3 races so far in this championship? We will see. Of course, he will want to not be feeling like he's going backwards with a win and a second and a third. But that gap then, 6.6 seconds. So we'll see. Keep an eye on how close that gets towards the end. Got any tight battles going on? It's still this Pokemon pairing. Prez has got ahead of Mehdi. Prez on the soft tyres. Mehdi, who was using the softs previously, went for mediums in the last run through the pits. So it is Prez in 5th, trying to make those softs last the distance, and that is going to be a significant challenge. Mehdi looked quite comfortable on his softs earlier, but that wear rate is looking a little bit alarming for Prez already. He's going to need to cool those tyres and take it easy, which is not an easy task when you've got a rival just behind you, chasing you down for the final positions. Aura in the Viper gets past the Silvia spare car of Lexus Enjoy, so Aura up to P7. Hard tyres to the end of the race. He can push very hard on those tyres, but I don't think he'll get a lot of pace out of them. He is 28 seconds off the lead of the race. This should be everybody pitted to the end now, I believe. And Kai has been having a very quiet race by his standards. Now 46 seconds off the lead, with about a quarter of a tank and soft tyres to run to the end. Oh, Moreno in the background getting very sideways. That's not going to help his plan to stay in front of Antonio, who I imagine can see his rival. There he is. You can see him on the track in front of him already. Antonio's gap now 3.5 seconds, thanks to that nasty oversteering moment from the McLaren driver Moreno. Before things get interesting at the end of this race, do make sure you've left a like on the video and you've followed us on socials. Make sure that you show up for Tuesday night racing. Give me a shout each time and I'll make sure to mention you on stream. It's been very good to have you all with us so far, and I hope you're not going anywhere for the final 5 laps as Antonio tries to get himself on the podium or try to step up further. His gap now 9 seconds to the lead with 4 laps to go, including this one. He's now 1.4 seconds away from Moreno, but he's still going to need to manage these soft tyres to the end of the race. It's not going to be super. Pepper says, does he hear Webbo? Yes, you do hear Webbo. Remind me, Pepper, where have we met before? Is it Fry? Is it Fry Pepper who is talking? If so, awesome. Because not everybody's YouTube handle is the same as their gamer tag or Discord name, so it's Fry Pepper. Awesome. Yes, indeed. Well, it's good to have you with us, Pepper. I know you briefly were known as Waffle, weren't you? So here comes the battle then for second place. This has happened a lot earlier than I was expecting it to happen, as Antonio is all over the circuit. He goes outside, inside, back onto the apexes through the final sector of the race, takes second place comfortably, and he's now got a 7.7 second gap to the leader. Afa on hard tyres with Antonio on degrading softs. Antonio will be hoping to get this, to get a second win out of 3 races, but a second place out of 3 races would also be very good as well. So it depends how he's feeling on those tyres. Does he feel like he needs to manage the gap, or can he go for it? Antonio with the fastest lap then, a 36.886. His previous lap was slightly slower in passing Moreno. So it's a quick chance to have a look down the grid. You can see Moreno, his challenge fading relative here to Antonio's. Moreno's been on those hard tyres a long time. Next comes Prez, ahead of 2 further drivers. Prez in the Mercedes, followed by Mehdi in the M4, although sharing a livery scheme. Then is Season 1 champion Hasnain in 6th place, just behind them. Then we have Aura ahead of Lexus Enjoyer, strangely enough in the Nissan, and the distinct livery Nissan as well. But Aura in 7th. He was an early leader of the race before he had a spin. Next comes Callum on his own in 9th place, very much on his own, and Jamie and Kai Racer having a battle of their own here. Kai Racer in 11th, hoping to pick up points tonight if he can. But identical performing cars here. Of course, the balance of power does equalise the cars to a certain degree, but by no means is it fully equalised racing. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and some of the Japanese cars only have strengths. Well, looks like Kai on the soft tyres has bags more grip at the apex as he looks to make a move on Jamie. Tries to sweep round the outside. Jamie trying to hang on, but there's no way to hang on to this one. Kai Racer on the soft tyres that may or may not make it the remaining 3 laps of the race takes 10th place off Jamie. Afa's gap now with 2 to go is 5.2 seconds. Antonio bringing that gap down, but if it's going to happen, it's going to be another very late race drama, as we have seen already this season. I'll keep my eye on that gap for the end of the race, but we have got closer battles. Mehdi Prez Hasnain 4th, 5th and 6th. Some good points still on offer for these drivers. Just reward for an endurance length race here tonight. And we've got Aura and Lexus Enjoyer still very much nose to tail, as they have been for this entire stint. Well, nice line there from Lexus Enjoyer, certainly comparing to Aura. And they will head towards the S's, still side by side. Nice clean racing from the 2 of them. Oh, very, very close at the apex once again. Aura staying ahead, but only just. And hi to Ivan as well, collecting old friends from leagues past and present. Good to have everybody here with us. P8 is Lexus Enjoyer looking for a sniff at a gap, but can't find one yet. I think the leader is being caught. Whether he's being caught enough, we will see. Kai is now putting a gap on Jamie for 10th and 11th. But I think it's time to have a look at that gap at the front. 3.5 seconds now between Afa and Antonio. Look at Antonio's tyre wear on the front right. Oh, well, both right-hand tyres on the car. This is definitely going to be a struggle to make the pass at the end. Afa, has he got it? The fuel light is even flashing on Antonio's car with a lap and a half to go now. Someone's actually in the pits, or has just rejoined us. Who's that? Who's come back? Oh, it's Kai. He's gone back into the pits. Can't run those softs without a puncture, it seems. So problem for him. Afa fuel light flashing, so he's actually got less fuel than Antonio. So if they do have to turn the engine down, it will see the cars limp to the line on fumes. It's 3.7 seconds now, the gap, as they finish out the penultimate lap. You know, know, if you do look at the gaps and think, well, the field spread's quite long, this is a 33 lap GT race, and I do think that the cars are still very close for all of that. Antonio's gap opening up. I think he's had to turn the engine down. I think he might well have to settle for second here unless something dramatic happens with AFA's fuel usage. They're on identical level of fuel now. Through sector 1 comes AFA. I think he might have done enough. Look at the consistency on his lap times on the right hand side of the screen. 1 minute 39s for the last 6 laps. Tremendous consistency on the hard tyre. Antonio risking a puncture on the right rear here. In fact, he's being caught at the moment by Moreno. I think Moreno has, well, they've got the same amount of fuel in the car, but Moreno's got a lot more grip on the tyres. So it is a question of whether Antonio can hang on to this second place, let alone battle at the front. He may well get himself overtaken, and he has indeed got himself overtaken, running out of grip on the way through the S's. He's just gone 1 lap too many on the soft tyres. Moreno retakes second place, so it looks like it'll be 1 each on the podium for Antonio in this championship. But today belongs to the BMW M4 of AFA. The Frenchman will come through the final corner. He will look up to see the checkered flag, and he will win in the Dragon Tail Gardens circuit in Croatia. He wins round 3 of the championship of season 2. Moreno, race-long endurance run here. Moreno picks up second place, crosses the line, and then Antonio makes it a 1-2-3 in the first 3 races. A third place for Antonio. Despite the pole. Mehdi picks up 4th place, some 19 seconds off the lead of the race, and our season 1 champion Hasnain will cross the line and finish 5th place. Next up comes Lexus Enjoyer and Aura. I didn't see the final standings from everybody, but I think they will remain as they were on the previous lap. Congratulations to AFA for a fantastic win there overall. Really, really enjoyable GT race. Hope you guys have all had a good one with us. And remember to tune in to the rest of the racing on the channel this week, but make sure, of course, to tune in 2 weeks' time. Next week is a break week, but in 2 Tuesdays' time, we will be back for you for round 4. You'll have to make do without me. We will have a stand-in. I have to be elsewhere for the following 2 races, I believe, but I will be back very soon. So HRG saying that there is 30-second timer problems, so they will sort it all out. Don't worry, but I don't think there's any argument about the winner. That was our winner tonight. Was AFA in the BMW M4 from Moreno and Antonio. Very nice race towards the end of that one. Very tense to the finish. Hope you've enjoyed it, folks. I'll give you a championship update, of course, at the start of the next time we're together. But until next time, thanks for your company. Thanks for leaving a like on the video, and we will catch you on the next race day.